The U.S. Department of Transportation has dropped its investigation into Atlanta-based Delta Airlines, launched in response to their handling of a global IT outage that stranded thousands of passengers back in 2024. A faulty software update by cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike caused grounded flights, also disrupting hospitals, small businesses, and government offices, among other problems around the world. The Department of Transportation looked into why Delta took longer to recover than other airlines. Investigators determined that Delta's passengers received prompt refunds and adequate assistance. Delta still faces a class action lawsuit brought by passengers over the IT outage. Delta is also suing CrowdStrike over the incident.